William was just grateful for every day, and he was happy every day despite the hand that had been dealt to him. When William was first diagnosed, when we were told, I was like, okay, we know what we're up against. We have something to fight. We weren't going to let that take away any small bit of happiness we could find.
I'm Derek.
I'm Amy, and we have our 4 girls with us, Sadie, Lena, Aaliyah, and Denny. We lost William last July in 2017. He was originally diagnosed in December of 2015. He had a rare form of ALL, so they went to a bone marrow transplant fairly quickly for him. Lena, his one sister, was a 10 out of 10 match for his bone marrow. He did extremely well with the transplant. He was determined to get out of the hospital to come fishing. He actually got to ring the bell at Hershey, and in January of 2017, unfortunately, we found out that he relapsed, and his cancer came back with a vengeance. He just kept having issues, and in the process we found out that his cancer had now spread to his spinal fluid. He ended up getting an infection that we couldn't clear up, and unfortunately lost him on July 15th of 2017, 4 days shy of his 13th birthday. That was his cancer story, but there was certainly much more to William than that. So where we're at today was a place that after his bone marrow transplant, when we had to stay near the hospital, we could only go about a 15-mile radius from the apartment, and this was almost within the 15-mile radius. So we kind of snuck out one day and went beyond a little bit. Even on days he couldn't walk, I'd put him in a wheelchair and we would go exploring in the hospital, and you'd have wheelchair races down the hallway, or there would be Nerf gun battles in the hallway. He just always found happiness in little moments. It was just who he was, but what we always tried to focus on and emphasize was, yeah, there's some pretty bad stuff going on, some pretty scary stuff going on, but you can always find something to joke about. You can always find something to smile about. That scary stuff is still going to be there. You know, that negative stuff is still going to be there. It's a shame to waste time on that. So honestly, we had a lot of good times in the hospital. It was always pretty entertaining with us, and I'm surprised we didn't get kicked out of more places. Hershey does like a Christmas dinner, so if you're there, you get to go down and they have this big buffet with shrimp, and I mean, just it's a big spread. Well, William loved shrimp, and he was determined to walk, even though it felt like a 2-mile walk and he was exhausted. He was determined to walk. And of course he had his IV pole with him that we had to take down. You could only take what you could carry. Like, you know, they didn't have to-go containers. You couldn't, like, take 6 plates back with a tray. It was literally whatever you could carry. And he's like, Mom, I can put stuff on my IV pole. So he literally, like, between the base of the IV pole and then up higher where the machines are, he had, like, his plate of shrimp and his cake. When he was determined to do something, he did it. No matter what.
Right at the end, you know, he mustered up enough energy to do what he loved to do. and we went out fishing, and yeah, he had a patch over his eye, and yeah, it was when the cancer was in his spine and in his brain, and we went out fishing, and it just enjoyed ourselves.
He had a way about him that just kind of captured people's hearts.
When I came across his story, it was just one of those days that I was feeling terrible when I look at this kid who he's on his second fight with leukemia, and he's still smiling. I reached out to the family, and that's when I met Amy. So we picked right up, and we started just supporting each other, and we actually got to meet about 2 weeks later at a Flyers game. When I left that night, I'm like, yeah, he's just a kid, but he's just so strong, because I couldn't function as an adult when I was going through it. So watching him still be able to smile and laugh, and you're just like, okay, if he can do it, I can do it.
He made more of an impact on more people than we could have ever imagined in his short time here on Earth than what most people do their entire life. So he, I guess, didn't need quite as long to accomplish what he was here for.
Fishing without him now, it's difficult. I don't catch fish unless I talk to him. I fish from safe light to 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and fished everything that should work, and nothing's worked. I'll start talking to him. Just say, hey William, we're gonna catch some fish today, and just I catch him. I can't explain it, and I know he's around. Every time I go fishing, whether it's in the springtime, in the summer, or the fall, or it could even be the winter, there's dragonflies. I've been fishing in December, and I've had dragonflies around me.